Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. The Inconsequential Runner here with Coach Mark. Hello, Coach Mark. Thanks for joining us again today.
Hey, my pleasure, Darcy. Great to join you.
Hey, we've got a good question for you. For those of you joining us for the first time, we have Coach Mark on, so we as runners can ask a coach, a good coach, questions we want answers to. And so we have got a question lined up for you, Coach Mark. So that's this video. We've covered just one thing in each video. If that sounds good to you and you get some value out of this video, you know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe, and you'll come across our other videos. Just one thing per video. Just before I start, I've had a few people ask me what this is. That is the outline of California, one of my favorite places. So if you're wondering what that shape is, that's California's boundary. So the rest of the United States is this way, and that's their coastline that way. So I don't know which way it gets flipped as you see it. So the way I'm looking at it right now, it's flipped the wrong way. So that's probably why it's hard to recognize. Okay, Coach Mark, thank you for being patient. Our question for you, and this is probably an age-old one you get asked all the time, or you don't get asked, but it's something runners want to know about, especially those that are starting to get quite serious. And that is that how much weight should we lose? What is the impact? If we start to look at body composition and we start to lose weight, what can we expect in terms of performance improvements? Can we get faster with losing weight? And then, of course, how much weight do you start to lose? And you probably picked up on the fact that I talked about body composition as opposed to just losing weight. And I know there's a couple of things in there. So Coach Mark, I know there's a lot to unpack there. Tell us what you think we should be thinking about when we do get this little worm in our head thinking, we need to start losing weight to get faster. Coach Mark, what do you think? When we're thinking about weight loss, what should we be thinking about?
Well, it's sort of two parts. So the first one's, if you're talking about, I want to lose weight to run faster, and a lighter body certainly will help us run faster to a point, because we're carrying that around, aren't we? Well, I've said before, we want a light chassis, strong engine. Yeah. But it's really important that you don't lose weight just for the sake of losing weight, if you see what I mean. The weight loss should be a pleasant side effect of the training, because it's really important that you fuel yourself properly for running. You need to take in sufficient energy to cover the energy that you're burning. Otherwise, you're going to have strike problems. You might lose weight to a point, but then you'll have an energy deficit, and that'll be a nutrition deficit, and problems will crop up. So, although weight loss is good, it shouldn't be the sole focus of running. You should just eat a healthy, balanced diet, ensuring that you're fueling around your runs, and do sufficient running and a healthy lifestyle. The weight loss should take care of itself.
There's probably a couple of points where you change your strategy around weight loss, because when I started running, I was about 85 kilos. So what's that in pounds? So you got to double it and add 10%. So that's about 187 pounds. And then I just naturally lost 10 kilos, because the last sport I was in, you could carry that weight in that sport. It wasn't, it was short, sharp stuff. But, when you run 10 kilometers, or even 5K. Anyway, went from 187 pounds, 85 kilos, down to 72. And that first transition was relatively easy. As you say, Coach Mark, I think some of the stuff you espoused in here really hit the nail on the head, which is I started to eat cleaner, just became a bit more conscious about what I was eating. I was refueling my muscles, but instead of doing it with popcorn, I was doing it with potatoes, stuff like that. So, so that first stanza where I was losing weight, that was easy. when I got down to around about, the 72 sort of mark, and I was thinking, do I push to 70 or back to 74? That's where I think some of this other thinking needs to come in. So with what you're talking about, which is not just losing weight now, you're really thinking about your body composition. So with that in mind, and coming back to what you were saying about fueling, and energy expenditure, gosh, I've got a number of questions for you now. When you say fueling, so in my experience, it was going from popcorn to potatoes sort of thing. What sorts of things do you think we can eat and not feel too guilty about, because it is a good refueling? So that's question number one. And question number two, I'll ask you in just a moment. So yeah, the first one around refueling.
Yeah, well, and it's dead right. When you do start running, you start looking at food as fuel more than just food, because you're actually thinking, I had this last night, I didn't feel so good for my run, so maybe I should change. It's kind of is a cost and benefit thing, that you look at the relationship between what you're eating and how you're performing, and that automatically dictates things. Things where, I mean, the best gauge really is to look at foods that have maybe one ingredient, is probably a good way to put it. Right. So things that aren't processed, hence something that's been say deep fried and had a load of stuff added to it, so it's lots of different things, or a combination, something that's a product that's in a packet, versus something like potato. It's just a potato. Yeah.
Which brings me. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, that was pretty much it. So if you use that as a gauge, you won't go far wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to the second question I had, which I think is a nice roll through into that. What I discovered early on is you can burn a lot of energy running, but I could consume a lot of energy way faster than I could run. So,
yeah,
a 1 hour run might be 650, 750 calories, depending on the train and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've discovered, when I started to look at the calories of what I was eating, and I'm not advocating that. I think the cleaner you eat, the more you can move away from calorie counting. But that's a whole video for a whole another time. And I don't want to speak on your behalf, Coach Mark. This is my experience. But when I was looking at calories, take me an hour to burn, say, as I say, anything from 650 to 750. But I could consume 750 calories in less than 10 minutes. Easy. Easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it, 5 minutes. 5 minutes for me would be 4 wheat bix and a scoop of protein powder and some water. 350 calories, just like that. That's sub 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think I heard you say once, and I'll get you to comment on this. So this is the question. I think I heard you say once to me, you can't outrun a bad diet. And I think we need to be conscious of that, because sometimes when I was coming back from a run, I'd reward myself with food for doing the run, but it wasn't the right food. In my mind, I justified I could eat whatever, but I was eating way more than I was burning. So what are some of the things we need to think about that, Coach Mark? And is that something I heard from you in terms of you saying?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. Another one I particularly like is you don't put lawnmower fuel into a Ferrari. So it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Because it's fuel. It's fuel, isn't it? Yeah, you did right. And the thing is, with it's all about planning, which we've hacked on this before, haven't we? That if you plan what you're going to eat before and after you run, that's probably going to take away a lot of that craving, and you just eat a balanced diet. But when you run, you can tend to lose weight quite quickly initially, but thing about us as humans, we're very good at adapting to things. That's why we're so such an amazing animal, really, top of the animal kingdom, because we adapt so quickly to things. That's effectively what training is. So if you think of running, if you start start running, you adapt to the running, then you do a bit more running, so you adapt to that. So your body gets leaner, stronger, whatever it needs to perform the running better.
Yep. You'd say more efficient as well. Yeah.
Yeah, more efficient. Yeah, dead right. You got it. But after a while, the body gets very efficient at running, which is why we actually get better at running, because we get more efficient at running. But the paradox of that is our body doesn't perceive it needs to make any more gains to achieve this, because it's such a repetitive motion running. Once you get to a certain point, you might tend to plateau, and that's something that a lot of runners find. But there are ways to kickstart things again around that, and that's really what it's all about. If you're looking at running and you feel like you're not at your optimum weight, not saying you're thinking I should be just starving myself or get under my weight, but if you want to be at your optimum weight, you want to do something that basically forces your body to adapt again. So that's where things like throwing in variations like speed work, hills, weight training,
cross training,
that type of thing, cross training, things like that. I mean, I've often found in the past, I'll my weight might come down if I haven't run for a while and I'm a bit heavier than I'd like. It'll come down to a certain point, and then when I start building in speed work, it normally takes off a few more kilos.
Right.
That's what I normally find, and that makes total sense when you think about it. That way, that your body's adapting to something new.
Okay, perfect. So if we were to summarize this as a takeaway, and thank you, Coach Mark, we've covered a number of things there that we need to be conscious of. One is, don't get too wedded to the actual weight, whatever it says on the scale, really start to focus on body composition. And one of the ways to focus on body composition is, don't get hung up on the weight on the scales, because there's a number of reasons why it'll be dropping away. And some of it might be, as you say, lean muscle mass as opposed to fat or something like that. So don't get too hung up on the pure number of the weight. Focus on body composition. One of the better ways to do that is making sure that you are just basically eating clean. So things with that one ingredient. So broccoli, there's only one ingredient to broccoli, and that's broccoli. Same with potatoes, same with cumin and stuff like that. So I suppose if you want to change the composition of your body, you're changing the composition of what you eat. Your body will adapt and will become more efficient over time. So also be conscious of that. But also don't undereat. You don't want your weight plummeting through the floor where you're losing your energy and you can't train properly and stuff like that. If you do find that there's a level of adaptation and efficiency in your body, and you want to take it to the next level, then consider maybe cross-training, something where your body is inefficient, going to the gym, doing some strengthening, or getting on a bike or going for a swim. Is that basically it in a nutshell, Coach Mark? What have I missed? What haven't I got right?
I don't think you missed anything there. That's it.
Perfect.
You summarized it well. Yeah.
All right. Well, and look, thank you for that information. And that again is the point of these videos: a short, sharp, but deep dive in some of the real crucial elements that will help us be not just better runners, but enjoy running more, so it doesn't become so much of a chore or something like that. Coach Mark, thank you so much for joining us. I know I've got a couple of other questions to ask you for some upcoming videos, so we'll just keep this series rolling. For those of you that have watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If you have a question you want me to ask Coach Mark, just throw it in the comments. We'll pick it up and we'll ask Coach Mark. Conversely, if you want to contact Coach Mark directly, if you want Coach Mark to be your coach, all his details are in the show notes. So just click on that drop-down box just under the video and it's all there. That's it. That's the last word from me. Thank you very much. Coach Mark, anything from you, buddy?
All right. I need to say goodbye.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
See you later.